Greetings from all of us at Agastya Foundation on the occasion of International Women's Day 2021. Our work in Agastya is guided by the 4 C's. Our main goal is to spark curiosity, creativity, confidence, and caring in young people. We care a lot whether all young people, girls and boys, have equal access to knowledge, to resources, and to opportunity. And this is how our caring guideline links very closely to issues of gender justice and gender equality. When we talk about gender justice, we can see that quite a lot of progress has been made, but challenges remain. The old challenges remain, and new challenges have come up. What are the new challenges? We only have to look back at the time of the lockdown and the pandemic to see one major challenge. And this is that when we moved in a big way from physical face-to-face learning and teaching to online teaching, we find that girls have far less digital access than boys. There are several studies that reiterate this point. Similarly, because of the pandemic, many children, especially from poorer communities, have dropped out of school. And the chances of girls getting back to any formal education looks to be far less than for boys. Now, on the whole, we can see that access to education and opportunity continues to be far less for girls and women than for boys and men. So let's start this discussion with a very inspiring story on how access to knowledge and information can change a woman's life. This is a real incident that took place in Bidar district of North Karnataka several years ago. It was possibly in the 90s, and this happened in the Mahila Samakhya program, which was a program for the empowerment of very poor women run by the government of India. So as part of this program, poor women formed collectives or sanghas, and through the sanghas, they were able to get some idea and some basic information about the laws, about the schemes, about health, about education. They served on the school development management committees, they stood for panchayat elections, and all of this was facilitated by the Mahila Samakhya program. So now let me tell you what happened when a woman called Gaurama, who was a member of the Mahila Samakhya Sangha, attended a health training. Gaurama was the mother of 3 daughters, and she was pregnant for the 4th time. As is common in many parts of our country and also in many parts of the world, the problem started there. Her husband started threatening her. Gaurama, if you have another daughter, you can take all your daughters and leave this house and do whatever you like. So she was taunted and harassed for the better part of her pregnancy, and she was unhappy and afraid. And then she went to this training where some basic information on health, including reproductive health, and some very basic information on genetics was also given to the participants. And in this training, Gaurama learnt who is responsible for the sex of the child. Is it the father or the mother? And there it was, scientifically undeniable, that it is the father who is responsible for the sex of the child. And that information was something that Gaurama really was taken up by. As luck would have it, as she walked out of the training and set out on her way home, she ran into her husband sitting with some of her cronies at the chai ka dukan. And as usual, the husband started taunting her. Said, "Hey Gaurama, if you have one more daughter, you know what will happen. You will have to pack your bags and your daughters and get out of my house." Gaurama stopped right there and went up to him. She said, "I have to tell you something." So he was a little taken aback. He said, "Do you know," said she, "whether it is the father or the mother who is responsible for whether we have a baby girl or a baby boy?" So he was taken aback. He kept silent. She said, "Do you know what my madam told me in the training? That it is the father whose genes will decide, whose seed will decide whether we have a girl or a boy. So it's not my problem, it's yours if we have another daughter. So I suggest you stop saying these things." As you can imagine, the husband was silenced, and I think that was the end of that story in Gaurama's life. Gaurama, of course, was enormously empowered by this knowledge and told all her friends and the people around her. And this story, as it kept getting repeated in different sanghas and different collectives, was hugely empowering for women. As we know, as we look back in history, women from time immemorial have been harassed and hounded because they have not had sons. And this has even gone all the way up to queens. Queens have been beheaded, thrown out of kingdoms. Women have been abandoned, and men have married a second time because they want sons. So you can imagine how empowering this knowledge was. So today on Women's Day, let's celebrate the achievements, many achievements of women. Women like Gaurama, women in every sphere of life, women in politics, women everywhere. Let us look again at gender bias around us, and let us take action towards gender justice. So in today's program, we will be talking to representatives from some very key partners of Agastya. Teachers and schools are very, very important to the work that Agastya does. So we will be talking to two representatives of teachers, and then we have representatives from Agastya's Young Instructor Leadership Program, where we will be talking to young people, and we will also be talking to about some of the work that we are doing in Agastya for gender equality. So now let's go on to talking to the teachers who've been kind enough to give us their time. In this discussion, we are also going to focus on what we as individual people can do to bring about change. Yes, a whole lot of change needs to happen at policy level. Policies need to be implemented well, and we need changes in system, we need changes in attitude, we need changes in how life goes on. So this discussion today with the different groups is about what each individual can do. Starting with the first segment, we have two friends here with us, two school teachers with enormous experience, many years of experience. Ujjwala Shinde ji, she teaches at the Vidya Mandir High School in Vikhroli, and Jyoti Kiswe ji, who teaches at the Kolaba Municipal Secondary School. Both of them, both these schools are co-ed schools. Both of them have, I will be asking both of them. The first one is, what kind of bias and what kind of difference in opportunity do you see for girls and boys in your schools and in your experience? And as school teachers, what do you think we can do to remove this bias and to move towards gender equality? So namaste to both of you, Ujjwala ji and Jyoti ji. And may I request Ujjwala ji to first share her thoughts on these two questions. Ujjwala ji, over to you.
Yes, everywhere definitely there is different experiences and opportunities for boys and girls. Actually, जो भी मेरे एक्सपीरियंस से है उसमें से आई वांट टू शेयर माय सम एक्सपीरियंसेस हियर. आउट ऑफ दिस वन इज स्वच्छता अभियान प्रोग्राम सभी को पता है, Actually, this program is implemented once a year among the students in each school. बट एक्चुअल एक्सपीरियंस डिफरेंट है, वो एक्सपीरियंस ऐसा है और शॉकिंग भी है. बोथ बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स आर इक्वली पार्टिसिपेटेड इन दिस प्रोग्राम, बट नॉट अ सिंगल बॉय इज रेडी टू स्वीप. एक्चुअली ग्रूमिंग के लिए, स्वीपिंग के लिए वो रेडी नहीं होते हैं. मतलब विलिंगली रेडी नहीं होते हैं. हम लोग उनको फोर्स करते हैं या कभी कभी प्यार से समझाते हैं तो वो भी करते हैं. बाकी का जो काम रहता है उनका, ये उठाना है, डस्टबिन उठाना है, वो करते हैं. लेकिन झाड़ू हाथ में लेने के लिए वो बिल्कुल रेडी नहीं होते हैं. उनका कहना रहता है ये काम लड़कियों का है, तो ये हम लोग कैसे कर सकते हैं. तो ये उसके अंदर इस तरीके का एक डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है. फोर्सफुली हम लोग करवा लेते इसलिए वो करते हैं, लेकिन दे बिल्कुल रेडी नहीं है विलिंगली ये काम करने के लिए. माय अनदर एक्सपीरियंस इज ड्यूरिंग स्पोर्ट्स. थोड़ा सा बायसनेस होता ही है, क्योंकि उनका कहना रहता है देयर आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ गेम्स. जैसे कि दिसंबर में हम ये क्रीड़ा महोत्सव सेलिब्रेट करते हैं, तो डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ गेम्स आर देयर. बट गर्ल्स और बॉयज दे ओन डिसाइडेड, वो एक खुद डिसाइड ऐसा करते हैं कि ये सम ऑफ गेम्स फॉर गर्ल्स, सम ऑफ गेम्स फॉर बॉयज. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, एक एग्जाम्पल मैं यहाँ पे देना चाहती हूँ. जैसे कि क्रिकेट टीम तैयार करना है, तो दे कांट पार्टिसिपेट टू गर्ल्स. वो बॉयज का ही अलग टीम बनाते हैं और वो खेलते हैं. ऐसा नहीं कि अभी इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे भी लड़कियां खेलती है, ऐसा नहीं है. लेकिन स्कूल लेवल में अभी तक वो चेंजेस नहीं है. लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि टीचर्स भी गेम अलॉट करते हैं या देते हैं, तभी भी वो सिलेक्ट करते हैं क्रिकेट के लिए ओनली बॉयज, और अदर्स गेम्स रहते हैं उसके लिए गर्ल्स. तो यहाँ पे भी थोड़ा टीचर्स के द्वारा भी थोड़ा बायसनेस आता है, ऐसा मैं कहूँगी. कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ कम है, ऐसा सोचा जाता है कि ऑलवेज गर्ल्स आर वीकर दैन बॉयज, या बॉयज आर डेफिनेटली स्ट्रॉन्गर, ऐसा कहा जाता है. लेकिन ऐसा कुछ नहीं. जैसे मैंने बोला है कि लड़कियां बहुत कोमल होती है, नाजुक होती है, लेकिन वो कमजोर बिल्कुल नहीं है. वो कुछ भी कर सकती है, उनकी स्ट्रेंथ है. और ये कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि कंपेयर करने की जरूरत नहीं है. कभी कभी बॉयज भी फिजिकली कम होते हैं, स्ट्रांगनेस उनके अंदर भी कम होता है. तो इट्स डिपेंड्स अपॉन टोटली फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ. तो एक यहाँ पे बायसनेस होता ही है, टीचर द्वारा भी होता है. जैसे मैंने कहा कि डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ वर्क, ये डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हम लोग जब करते हैं तो लाइट वर्क रहता है तो ऑलवेज प्रेफर टू गर्ल्स. और जैसे कि फर्नीचर रिलेटेड रहता है, बेंचेस को मूव करना है, यानी हेवी वर्क एज कम्पेयर टू गर्ल्स, तो तुरंत बॉयज आर कॉल्ड. तो ये थोड़ा सा होता ही है. ये एक अलग टाइप का एक्सपीरियंस हमेशा हम लोगों को आता है. लेकिन इंटेंशन उसमें ऐसा नहीं होता है कि टीचर ऑलवेज ट्राई टू रिमूव दिस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, और ऑलवेज ट्राई टू एक रिलेशनशिप जो है बॉयज और गर्ल्स की तरफ, जो म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट उनके अंदर होना चाहिए, ये इंटेंशन हमेशा टीचर का रहता है. और उसके लिए वो बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज, डिफरेंट प्रोग्राम्स कंडक्ट करते हैं कि जिसके वहाँ या टोटली बोथ बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स ये पार्टिसिपेट होना जरूरी है. मैं एक एग्जांपल देना चाहती हूँ कि हमेशा हमारे यहाँ रंगोली स्पर्धा यानी कंपटीशन कंडक्ट की जाती है. तो मैक्सिमम गर्ल्स, मैक्सिमम नहीं, बहुत अंश 100% गर्ल्स उस कंपटीशन के अंदर पार्टिसिपेट होते हैं. लेकिन हम लोग हमेशा मोटिवेट करते हैं लड़कों के लिए. तो आजकल ऐसा हुआ है कि बॉयज आर ऑल्सो पार्टिसिपेट इन रंगोली कंपटीशन, तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है. ये एक एग्जांपल है. एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट ने एक बहुत अच्छी एक्टिविटी दी है यहाँ पे, जो है कि सभी के लिए, सभी स्कूल में वो कंडक्ट की जाती है कि ऑटोमेटिक उनमें से बहुत सारा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन रिमूव होता है. कि उसके अंदर क्या दिया गया है, उसे कहते हैं मीना राजू मंच. उसके अंदर एक लिस्ट दिए है, यानी लिस्ट ऑफ वर्क, और रैंडमली वो लिस्ट बच्चों को दी जाती है. रैंडमली मतलब उसके अंदर मिक्स्ड ऐसा वर्क रहता है कि झाड़ू मारना है, यानी घर का जो काम रहता है उसका एक्टिंग करना है, ड्रामा जैसा है वो। बर्तन मांजना है, कुछ लिखना है, कुछ मम्मी को हेल्प करना है, किचन का काम रहता है, ऐसी एक लिस्ट रहती है और वो रैंडमली बच्चे लोगों को दिया जाता है। तो ऐसा नहीं होता है कि अभी ये काम बर्तन मांजना है तो लड़कियों ने करना है, वो काम बच्चे लोगों के ऊपर भी आता है, यानी बॉयज के ऊपर भी आता है। तो वो करते हैं, एंजॉय करते हैं। अभी वो ड्रामा है इसलिए करते होंगे शायद, लेकिन हम उसको समझाते हैं उस एक्टिविटी द्वारा कि ऐसा नहीं है। तो ये एक्टिविटी करने के बाद उनको मालूम पड़ता है कि बिल्कुल वहां पे डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं है और ये सभी का काम है, नॉट अ सिंगल बॉय कैन से ये मेरा काम नहीं है, ये लड़कियों का काम है, ऐसा कोई नहीं कहता है। तो इसका इफेक्ट बहुत अच्छा होता है टू रिमूव डिस्क्रिमिनेशन। तो एक मेरा एक्सपीरियंस बहुत अच्छा है। और और एक बात मैं कहूँगी कि जो सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट रहती है क्लास में, यानी क्लासरूम सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट, हमेशा हम लोग क्या करते हैं, सेपरेटली बिठाते हैं। कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि हायर स्टैंडर्ड में बच्चे जाते हैं तो हम लोग उनको बिल्कुल सेपरेटली, बॉयज अलग और गर्ल्स अलग, ये सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट करते हैं। लेकिन ये इसमें हम लोग थोड़ा चेंजेस लाते हैं, जैसे कि अल्टरनेटिव सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट हो सकती है, या वन बेंच फॉर बॉयज, वन बेंच फॉर गर्ल्स, या अल्टरनेट बेंच, वन बेंच फॉर गर्ल्स, वन बेंच फॉर बॉयज। तो ये बहुत अच्छा होता है क्योंकि दे कैन कोऑपरेट ईच अदर वेरी इजीली, दे कैन शेयर विद ईच अदर वेरी इजीली। तो जो डिस्टेंस, दूरी हम जिसे कहते हैं, वो कम होती है, और जो ऑकवर्डनेस जो रहता है लड़की लोगों में वो बहुत कम होता है। और दे कैन शेयर, दे कैन केयर ऑल्सो, दे कैन कोऑपरेट ईच अदर। तो ये भी एक फायदा मेरे कहने से होगा कि सिटिंग अरेंजमेंट चेंज करने की वजह से। और एक मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग है कि शायद ये मेरा ओपिनियन रहेगा कि जो वैसे मैंने कहा है कि एक ऑकवर्डनेस जो रहता है लड़के और लड़कियों में, वो कम करना है। तो मुझे लगता है, ये मेरा ओपिनियन है कि इफ वी मेक सम चेंजेस इन टेक्स्ट बुक, जैसे कि सिलेबस में कोई चेंजेस हम लोग लाएंगे तो वी विल गेट लॉट। जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल मैं एक एग्जांपल देना चाहती हूँ यहाँ पे, कि जो 10th का साइंस टेक्स्ट बुक है उसके अंदर एक चैप्टर दिया गया है, लाइफ प्रोसेसेस। लाइफ प्रोसेसेस के अंदर ये एक प्रोसेस दी गई है, रिप्रोडक्शन। उसके अंदर मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव और फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम डिटेल में दी गई है विथ डायग्राम। तो इस कंडीशन में थोड़ा-सा ऑकवर्डनेस बहुत सारे बच्चों के अंदर आता है। कभी-कभी वल्गर रिएक्शंस भी आती है। टीचर्स की भी पोज़ीशन थोड़ी ऑकवर्ड होती है क्योंकि बच्चों की तरफ से जो रिस्पॉन्स आता है, वो थोड़ा अलग रिस्पॉन्स रहता है। कभी-कभी वल्गर एक्टिविटी जैसे मैंने बोला है, वैसे भी होते हैं। जो इनोसेंट बच्चे हैं, वो उनकी ऑकवर्ड पोज़ीशन होते हैं, और उसके अंदर गर्ल्स, जब मेंस्ट्रुएशन साइकिल डिटेल में उनको हम लोग बताते हैं, तो वो बहुत शर्माती है या अलग बिहेव करने लगती है। जैसे कि टीचर्स लोगों को भी थोड़ा नहीं सीखने के लिए या सिखाने के लिए मन होता है, क्योंकि रिस्पॉन्स की वजह से। तो मेरा कहना है, ये जो लोअर स्टैंडर्ड्स जैसे 7th 8th से ये डिटेल में उनको हम बताएंगे या टेक्स्ट बुक के अंदर थोड़ा डालेंगे, तो वो मेंटली प्रिपेयर हो जाएंगे। और अभी जो उनकी ऑकवर्डनेस जो है वो कंप्लीट निकल जाएगी, और वो इजीली साइंटिफिकली उनको ले लेंगे, और जो भी है उनको बहुत नॉलेज मिलेगा बॉडी ऑर्गन्स के बारे में, या जो भी है वो कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है, उसका क्लीनिंग क्लीनिंग कैसे करना है या क्या है, ये सब वो जान लेंगे। तो जो अभी ऑकवर्ड पोजीशन है वो नहीं होगी, या वो गलत रिएक्ट नहीं करेंगे, ये जब हम लोग ये करते हैं। तो ये मेरा शॉर्ट सजेशन है सभी के लिए। थैंक यू।
So thank you very much. Those were really wonderful ideas. And I think all we need is some will to do them. They are not difficult to do, but wonderful ideas. Thank you very much, Ujwala ji. Now, Jyoti ji, can I request you to share your thoughts with us?
नमस्कार सभी को, अंतरराष्ट्रीय महिला दिन की शुभकामनाएं। मेरा जो स्कूल है वो को एजुकेशन स्कूल है। लड़के और लड़कियां यहाँ पे साथ में पढ़ते हैं। मेरे क्लास में 29 गर्ल्स है और 24 बॉयज है। बॉयज की मायने लड़कियों की संख्या ज्यादा है, लेकिन मेरा ये एक्सपीरियंस है, हमारे स्कूल में अटल ट्रिंकलिंग करके लैब है। ये जो लैब है, ये टेक्नोलॉजी का लैब है। इसमें स्टेम लर्निंग में साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और मैथमेटिक्स के जो स्किल है, ये पढ़ाए जाते हैं। उसमें और भी रोबोटिक्स होता है, 3D प्रिंटर होता है, स्विमिंग होता है, प्लम्बिंग वगैरह, ये सब चीजें यहाँ पे सिखाई जाती है कि जो फ्यूचर प्रोफेशनल के लिए आवश्यक है। लेकिन ये लैब में हर एक क्लास जो होता है, फॉर एग्जांपल 10वीं के टोटल 30 स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं। 30 में से 25 बॉय स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं, 5 जो स्टूडेंट्स होती है वो गर्ल स्टूडेंट्स होती है। हमने बहुत कोशिश की कि लड़कियों को यहाँ लाने की, लेकिन उनका जो कहना है कि ये मैम, ये चीज मैं सीख नहीं सकती। ये जो उनका ये है, मानना है कि ये मैं चीज बॉयज का काम है, ये बॉयज ही सीख सकते हैं। टेक्नोलॉजी यानी खुद बॉयज कर सकते हैं, लड़कियां टेक्नोलॉजी में कुछ नहीं कर सकती, ये उनकी सोच है। और ये इसके लिए वो आती नहीं। यहाँ पे देखो, गवर्नमेंट ने लड़कियों और लड़कियों के लिए समान अवसर दिए गए। दूसरा भी हमारे यहाँ एक मल्टी स्किल करके लैब है, वहां पे भी लड़कियां आती नहीं। वहां पे कारपेंटरी सिखाते हैं, फार्मिंग सिखाते हैं, ये सब चीजों में भी लड़कियां आती नहीं कि ये अपना काम नहीं। फिर बाद में जब सलाम बॉम्बे फाउंडेशन एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, उसके तरफ से ब्यूटिशियन का कोर्स रहता है, वो कोर्स में वह जल्दी से जुड़ जाती है। मैं सुनता क्या लगता है कि ये चीजें मेरे लायक है, ये टेक्नोलॉजी मेरे बस की बात नहीं है। यहाँ पे अवसर से मैं, लेकिन लड़कियां यहाँ खुद से ही पीछे रह जाती है। हम लोग जब ट्रिप के लिए जाते हैं, साइंस एग्जीबिशन जो है, प्रोजेक्ट बनाने का काम, अच्छे से रिप्रेजेंट करने का काम रीजनल लेवल तक लड़कियां अच्छे से करती है। जब बाहर वो प्रोजेक्ट सिलेक्ट होता है और बाहर हॉल्ट के लिए जब जाना पड़ता है, तो पेरेंट्स उनको भेजते नहीं। हमने पेरेंट्स से भी बात की, तो पेरेंट्स कहते हैं कि मैम, हमारी लड़की जो है अब बड़ी हो गई है, बाहर भेजने में हमें रिस्क लगता है। यहाँ अवसर की संधि समान है, लेकिन लड़कियां खुद में होशियारी होके भी पीछे रह जाती है। ये पेरेंट्स की वजह से और खुद की सोच की वजह से। ये जो पेरेंट्स की गलत सोच है और लड़कियों की गलत सोच है, इसके लिए वह पीछे रह जाती है। तो ये जो है, ये मेरा 2 एक्सपीरियंसेस है और मैं इसके बारे में कुछ कहना चाहती हूँ। यहाँ जो है, लड़का लड़की जो जेंडर इक्वलिटी के लिए ये टीचर का रोल बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। टीचर ने बताना चाहिए क्या कि ये लड़का और लड़की दोनों ही सम समान है। हमारा जो संविधान है, हमारे संविधान में स्त्री पुरुष समानता बताई गई है और स्त्री और पुरुष दोनों को ही समान अधिकार संविधान ने दिए हैं। ये जो है, सिर्फ बायोलॉजिकल डिफरेंस है, बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स। ये प्रकृति ने इसको गर्ल्स बनाया है, इसको बॉय बनाया है, ओनली जनरल डिफरेंस, बाकी कुछ नहीं है। और इसके लिए हम लोग जो है, ये अलग अलग एक्टिविटी परफॉर्म करते हैं। हम बच्चों को बताएंगे कि ये ऐसा करो वैसा करो, उनको नहीं समझता, लेकिन जो चीज एक्टिविटी द्वारा समझाई जाती है, वह उनके दिमाग पे ज्यादा असर करती है। सब सर्वप्रथम मैं जो है, सब जो स्टूडेंट है उनके लिए जेंडर इक्वलिटी पे जो फिल्म होता है, शॉर्ट फिल्म देखो, एक तमन्ना करके फिल्म है। और अभी ना 8 मार्च को ये एक महिंद्रा ट्रैक्टर का एड निकाला है, उसमें लड़की ट्रैक्टर चला रही है। अब तक सब सिर्फ लड़के ही चलाते थे, लड़की भी चला रही है। ये फिल्म में मैंने उनको दिखाई है। और ये जो अलग अलग प्रकार की फिल्म है, हम लोग हमेशा उनको दिखाते हैं। टेक्निकल लैब है, टेक्निकल लैब में आने के लिए मैं उनको प्रेरित करती हूँ। उसके लिए हम लोग स्टार देते हैं। ये छोटा छोटा एक्टिविटी उनके लिए देते हैं। ज्यादा बड़ा बड़ा एक्टिविटी, छोटे छोटे एक्टिविटी से शुरुआत करने की है। जैसे सोल्डरिंग करो, ये वायर का रिपेयरिंग करो, ये ऐसा छोटा छोटा एक्टिविटी वो कर पाती है। और उनको सिखाने के लिए बॉय स्टूडेंट को कहा जाता है। उनसे क्या होता है, उन दोनों में जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग होता है बहुत अच्छे से होता है, और बच्चे एक दूसरे को बहुत अच्छी तरह से सिखाते हैं। और लड़कियों को मोटिवेट करने के लिए हम लोग उनको क्या करते हैं कि बेस्ट इनोवेटर ऑफ द मंथ फॉर गर्ल्स, ऐसे एक लड़की चुनी जाती है, और उसका नाम जो है पूरे मंथ उस लैब में वो ब्लैक बोर्ड पे रहता है। तो उस और दूसरे भी लड़कियों को ऐसी इच्छा होती है कि ये मैं भी कर सकती हूँ, तो ये हम लोग करते हैं। बाद में जेंडर इक्वलिटी के लिए ड्राइंग कंपटीशन होता है, स्लोगन कंपटीशन होता है, ऐसे कंपटीशन, ड्रामा कंपटीशन, ये अलग अलग कंपटीशन हम लोग जो है वह ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं। दूसरा जो अनुभव है ट्रेकिंग का अनुभव है। ट्रेकिंग ये जो है हमारे पास में एक छोटी सी हिल है, वहां पे हम जाते हैं, सब लोग साथ में जाते हैं, तो लड़के और लड़कियां दोनों साथ में। तो लड़के और लड़कियां इतने अच्छे से ट्रेकिंग करते हैं, उसमें एक दूसरे से घुल मिल जाते हैं, एक दूसरे को मदद करते हैं, इससे ये जेंडर इक्वलिटी हो सकती है उनमें। बाद में मैं जो क्लास में मेरा मॉनिटर होता है, वो जो होता है गर्ल स्टूडेंट होती है, और वो सहायक जो मॉनिटर होता है वह बॉय स्टूडेंट, में दोनों में कोऑर्डिनेशन होके वह बहुत अच्छे से क्लास को संभालते हैं, और बहुत सी जिम्मेदारियां जो है जो लड़कियां बहुत अच्छी तरह से संभालती है। स्पोर्ट्स एक्टिविटी में हम बॉयज और गर्ल्स मिक्स ग्रुप लेते हैं। और दूसरा महत्वपूर्ण बात जो है, ये जो जेंडर इक्वलिटी है, हमारे घर से ही हम लोग बताते हैं कि ये जो काम है ये लड़कियों का है, एक लड़कों का है। हमारे क्लास की जो महिलाएं हैं वो बहुत लोअर क्लास से बिलोंग करती है, जो है फिश मार्केट में वो मच्छी जो सिलने का काम है उनके लिए जाती है। तो पहले हम लोग उनका वर्कशॉप कंडक्ट करते हैं, मदर काउंसलिंग वर्कशॉप, और उनको बता देते हैं कि तुम्हारी लड़की सब कुछ कर सकती है, उसको समान अवसर दे दो। ये हम लोग उनको बताते हैं, काउंसलिंग के द्वारा ये समझ जाती है। बाद में हर सप्ताह हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि जो जो कर्तव्यगार महिलाएं हैं उनका जो उनके बारे में जानकारी बच्चों को इकट्ठा करने के लिए कहते हैं, और उनका पीपीटी प्रेजेंटेशन करते हैं। उसमें देखो पहले जो कमांडो ट्रेनर थी डॉक्टर सीमा राव, मेट्रो वुमन अश्विनी भिड़े, पहली आईपीएस अधिकारी जो है डॉक्टर किरण बेदी, देन भावना कांत एयरफोर्स कॉन लीडर, ये जो कर्तव्यगार महिलाएं, ये जो महिलाएं ये जो है फाइटर प्लेन भी चलाती है, ये इनको हम बता देते हैं। इससे उनमें जेंडर इक्वलिटी के बारे में जो जागृति है वह हो सकती है। और ये जो है ये स्त्री सक्षमता के लिए हम जो है ये कदम उठा रहे हैं। बाद में मैं इतना सबको कहूंगी, स्त्री पुरुषों से भी नहीं है कम, असमानता रखकर न करो विकृति। और ये जो है ये चीजें हम लोग स्कूल में करते हैं। धन्यवाद।
Ujjwala ji and Jyoti ji, thank you so much for sharing your experiences of gender bias in your schools and sharing the work that you're doing in breaking down these barriers. This is so very important. And as we appreciate all such work, let us also be aware that when we talk about gender equality, we can walk into a trap. And the trap is that we begin to expect that all women will be superwomen. They will do everything at home, they will cook, clean, look after their families, do all of that, and still do everything that is needed to become top class space scientists or explorers or architects or cricket players or commandos. Now, the problem here is we usually tell girls that they can do anything that boys do. But how often do we tell boys to do everything that girls do or that women do? Now, we see stories of success, but the numbers remain small. And if women have to get into all professions in large numbers, it is absolutely important that boys and men start sharing equally in all the unpaid work of caring for home, family, and the community, all the work that women do. In fact, in the countries that have the best gender equality numbers, like the Nordic countries, we see that there is real equality between men and women, both inside the home and outside. And let's hope that we quickly can reach that stage in the world. So, from the teachers, we will go to the YILs. So who are the YILs? The YILs are another very important group of partners of the Agastya program. The YIL program is a flagship program for Agastya. They are the children who show that little extra something in our interactions with them during our visits with the mobile vans or when the children come to the science centers. So these children who become the YILs are given more inputs by Agastya. And you will find the YILs, the young instructor leaders, you will see them explaining to the public in our science fairs. You will see them doing community projects. You will see them talking to people about social change. They also get inputs about a number of things other than science, for example, communication skills, about the environment, and many such things. So, after speaking to the teachers, we would like to speak about gender inequality and gender discrimination with some of our YILs. So, let's go first to Kuppam and talk to some of the YILs there. All of them, 3 of them are here with us. They are all from the AP Model School, Shantipuram, Kuppam. They are all 13 years old and they have a lot of dreams for their own futures. But you will see that they are also socially very aware and they have plans to do something for gender equality. So let us first go to our young friend Harika, who's 13 years old, and as I said, from the AP Model School in Shantipuram, Kuppam. Now, Harika will share her ideas and what she wants to do. Harika, can you share with us, please?
Hi, ma'am. Good morning. నేను ప్రజల అవగాహన తీసుకురావాలనుకుంటున్నాను. అది ఏమిటంటే అమ్మాయిలు అబ్బాయిలు ఈక్వల్ గా చదువుకోవాలని అనుకుంటున్నాను. నేను డ్రామాస్ స్క్రిప్ట్స్ చేసి ప్రజల్లో అవగాహన తీసుకురావాలని నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను. డ్రామాస్ స్క్రిప్ట్స్ నేను మా స్కూల్లో కానీ యానివర్సరీ ఫంక్షన్స్ కానీ మా విలేజెస్ లో కానీ నేను చేసి ప్రజల్లో అవగాహన తీసుకురావాలని అని అనుకుంటున్నాను. డ్రామాస్ స్క్రిప్ట్స్ తయారు చేయడానికి నేను ఒకటే కాకుండా నా ఫ్రెండ్స్ నాకు విలేజ్ లో ఒక టీం ఉంది. అంతేకాకుండా నేను మా టీమ్ తో కలిసి డ్రామాస్ స్క్రిప్ట్స్ చేస్తాను. నాకు ఆ డ్రామాస్ స్క్రిప్ట్స్ చేయడానికి మా ఫ్రెండ్స్ మా టీచర్స్ అందరూ హెల్ప్ చేస్తారు. అంతేకాకుండా నేను డ్రామాస్ స్క్రిప్ట్స్ దాన్ని చేయడానికి నేను పోయినసారి చైల్డ్ మ్యారేజ్ గురించి ఒక డ్రామా స్క్రిప్ట్ చేశాను. అది చేయడం వల్ల నాకు చాలా మంది అప్రిషియేట్ చేశారు. చాలా సంతోషించాను. నేను చాలా మంది పేరెంట్స్ ని కూడా మోటివేట్ చేస్తాను, మీరు పిల్లలు చదివించాలి అని. వాళ్ళకి ఎస్పెషల్లీ గర్ల్స్ ని ఎంకరేజ్ చేస్తాను, మీరు చదువుకోవాలి అని. వాళ్ళక నేను డ్రామా స్క్రిప్ట్స్ కేటగిరీస్ ఉంటాయి. ఆ కేటగిరీస్ లో అమ్మాయిలు సాధించిన కల్పన చావ్లా గారు, సరోజిని నాయుడు, ఇందిరాగాంధీ, పిటి ఉషా లాంటి ఎందరో మహానుభావుల గురించి నేను వాళ్ళ పేరెంట్స్ ఎలా మోటివేట్ చేస్తాను, ఎంకరేజ్ చేశాను అని దాని గురించి స్క్రిప్ట్స్ డ్రామాస్ చేసి నేను ప్రజల్లో అవగాహన తీసుకురావాలని అనుకుంటున్నాను. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thank you very much, Harika. Mahadev, can I request you to do a quick translation for our viewers?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Harika, she's an 8th standard girl. What she feels about to get the tremendous change in the society is she had a passion of performing a scripts and drama on the stage in her school, and she had a team of members who can perform well if many drama role plays in her village and in many functions, school meetings and all. So she wanted to get a change by giving an example of eminent personalities who brought the change in society, like Kalpana Chawla, Sarojini Naidu, P.T. Usha. So she wanted to write a script of their role play, and she wanted to perform that in front of many of the people and get the change among the parents. So like that, she wanted to change the society with her own talent by making a team of friends. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now let's go to another YIL, that is Sharan. Sharan is also in the same school, and Sharan has some very interesting ideas. Sharan will also tell us how he first noticed the difference in what happened to his sister and to his brother. Now, Sharan, thank you very much for being on our program. Can you share your story with our viewers?
ఆమె అబ్బాయిలు కూడా సమానంగా చదువుకుని ఉద్యోగం చేయాలని నా ఆకాంక్ష. మా ఇంట్లో మా అక్క చదువుతున్నప్పుడే పెళ్లి చేసేసారు. తను ఇప్పుడు ఒక తల్లి. మా అన్న బెంగళూరులో సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఉద్యోగం చేస్తున్నాడు, బాగా చదువుకొని. మా అక్క కూడా బాగా చదువు ఉంటే తను కూడా ఒక ఉద్యోగం చేసేది. ఇది నాకు చాలా బాధాకరంగా అనిపించింది. నేను నా మిత్రులు కలిసి ప్రిన్సిపల్ మేడం దగ్గర పర్మిషన్ తీసుకొని పేరెంట్స్ మీటింగ్ లో తల్లిదండ్రుల్లో ఎలాగైనా మార్పులు తీసుకురావాలని అనుకుంటున్నాను. పేరెంట్స్ మీటింగ్ లో తల్లిదండ్రుల అవగాహన తీసుకురావాలని నా కోరిక. థ్యాంక్స్ మ్యామ్.
Sharad is also a extended guy. His own idea is, his aspiration is to give the equal education to the girls like that of boys. So it was his own intention, and he wanted to comment an example of his own family, like her sister who got married in a young age, and now she is a child mother of a child, and his own brother who got educated well, and he is doing a software job in Bangalore. He find that discrimination in his own family, that he wanted to change that scenario in others' family and not give the better education to the girls. He feels that if a chance has given to his own sister, she might also have joined in a better job in Bangalore. So that could not happen in his own family. Like that, he wanted to give an awareness to the parents. So he wanted to talk with the principal and teachers and get permission. And he himself and his friends want to talk with the parents meeting and get the change in the parents and give a better awareness to the parents. Like that, he wanted to get that change in society. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahadev. And now shall we ask Harshita to share her story?
Yes, ma'am.
Harshita, she also has something interesting to tell us.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Harshita. Will you share your story with us? Yeah. Hello.
మా మమ్మీ వచ్చేసి ఇంటర్మీడియట్ లో తన ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఆపేసినారు. ఎందుకంటే అమ్మాయి ఇంకా ఎక్కువ చదువుకుద్దు. ఆ రోజుల్లో అయితే ఎక్కువ చదువునియరు, మినిమం 10th అంటే లాస్ట్. బట్ మా మమ్మీ ఇంటర్మీడియట్ వరకు చదివింది. వాళ్ళు అయినా వద్దు పెళ్లి చేసేసినారు. ఆ తర్వాత వచ్చేసి మా మమ్మీ వండుకొని వాళ్ళ పేరెంట్స్ ని అడిగింది, నేను ఇట్లా చదువుకుంటాను, నా వల్ల అవుతుంది అని అడిగింది. బట్ వాళ్ళ పేరెంట్స్ ఒప్పుకోలేదు. వద్దు, నువ్వు అమ్మాయి ఎక్కడికని వెళ్తావు, ఇక్కడే ఉండి ఏదో పని చేయి అని చెప్తున్నారు. అదే ఉపయోగించుకొని తను టైలర్ చేస్తూ బుక్స్ కొనుక్కొని డిగ్రీ కంప్లీట్ చేసి అండ్ బిఎడ్ అప్లై చేసి అదే ఒక పక్క టైలరింగ్ చేసుకుంటూ చదువుకుంటూ డే అండ్ నైట్ ఫుల్ కష్టపడి బిఎడ్ లో సీట్ సంపాదించింది. తను బాగా చదివి అండ్ డిఎస్సి లో పాస్ అయ్యి టీచర్ గా ఇప్పుడు విలేజ్ లో హై స్కూల్ ఉంది, హై స్కూల్లోకి ఇప్పుడు వెళ్తా ఉంది. మళ్ళీ ఇంటికి వచ్చి అది మా మమ్మీకి ఎవరు సపోర్ట్ చేయలేదు ఆ టైంలో. నువ్వు ఎక్కడికి వెళ్తావో వెళ్ళు అని ఒకేసారి అనిన దానికి మా మమ్మీ వెళ్ళి వేరే రూమ్ లో రెంట్ తీసుకొని తను వండుకొని తను ఓన్ టాలెంట్ తో చదివింది. దానికి వండుకొని మా మమ్మీ వచ్చేసి ఇంటికి చెప్పిన వెంటనే మా మమ్మీ వాళ్ళ పేరెంట్స్ ఎంకరేజ్ చేసినారు, వెరీ గుడ్, బాగా చదివినావు అని చెప్పేసి. అందుకని నేనేమనుకుంటానంటే, నా ఏజ్ ఇంకా 13 years ఓల్డ్, బట్ నేను వచ్చేసి మా ఫ్రెండ్స్ అండ్ మా విలేజ్ లో ఉండే వాళ్ళ ఫ్రెండ్స్ అందరినీ కలిపి మా మమ్మీ మా పేరెంట్స్ ని తర్వాత మా వాళ్ళ పేరెంట్స్ ని అందరూ గెట్ టుగెదర్ గా వెళ్ళేసి వాళ్ళతో మాట్లాడి ఇట్లా 30 years అంటే ఫుల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ కంప్లీట్ అయ్యే వరకు పెళ్లి చేయకూడదు అని చెప్తే కొంతమంది ఇన్స్పిరేషన్ అవుతారు. ఇప్పుడు చాలా మంది ఉన్నారు. మనం ఫస్ట్ మనం వెళ్తే మన రూట్ లో కొంతమంది వస్తారు. కాబట్టి మనం ముందు అడిగేస్తే మా ఫ్రెండ్స్ ఎట్లా వచ్చినారో వాళ్ళ పేరెంట్స్ కూడా వాళ్ళ పిల్లల్ని బడికి పంపించడానికి చాలా ఎడ్యుకేట్ చేయడానికి అవకాశం ఉంది.
She feels that she wanted to take a better example of her own mother. So there is not at all a single person support from their parents, husband, everyone. When she was studying intermediate, her education was stopped and she got married in the young age. And she professionally doing a tailoring job and she earning money with that, and she buy the books and she has personally applied in Open University and she was educated at home itself. And later on she after too much of struggle she joined BEd course and completed her BEd course, and now she is working as a teacher in a high school. So that was the very good example she was telling about how much struggle women face to be in a success in her field. So once she was success, her father, husband, everyone came forward to support her. So before her education, none of them got supported. She find that discrimination and she wanted to change that. So she wanted to gather a team of members in own village, and with the help of teachers, students, friends, everyone, she wanted to change their society. But every girl has to get equal education, so that she wanted to bring a change in society.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Harika, Sharan, Harshita, and to Mahadev. Now this is really wonderful because we see that at a very young age, children realize that there is something unfair about what is happening in their families. Now, all three of them talked about how the women of their families got less opportunities. All three of them are inspired by the way people have come up. All three of them want to do something about it. So it's quite wonderful. And I think that if we listen to our young people, there's a very good chance that we can bring about positive change in society. Now, having listened to these three young instructor leaders from Kuppam, let's just go across to Tamil Nadu and talk to a young instructor leader over there. We have just listened to the YILs from Kuppam. Now, let us listen to Peraranyan, who is a YIL, young instructor leader from Tamil Nadu. He's 11 years old. He's in 6th standard in the Avadi Municipal Middle School. So let's listen to his ideas, how he became aware of gender discrimination and what he plans to do about it. Peraranyan, நீங்க உங்க ஐடியா ஷேர் பண்றீங்களா?
எஸ் மேம்.
சொல்லுங்க.
என் பேர் பேருங்க. எனக்கு 11 வயசு ஆகுது. 6வது ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் ஆவடி நகராட்சி நடுநிலையில படிக்கிறேன். நான் இன்னைக்கு ஜெண்டர் டிஸ்கிரிமினேஷன் அது எப்படி வந்துச்சு அப்படி சொல்ல போறேன். நான் எங்க வீட்டுல 4 பேர் இருக்கிறோம். 3 பேர் ஆணு, நானு, எங்க அண்ணா, என் அப்பா. மொட்டை பெண்ணு எங்க அம்மா மட்டும்தான். அவங்க காலையிலேயே சீக்கிரமா எழுந்து எங்களுக்கு சமைச்சு கூட்டிட்டு பாத்திரம் கழுவிட்டு வீடையும் கிளீன் பண்ணிட்டு அப்புறமா கடைக்கு போவாங்க. கடைக்கு காலையிலேயே போயிட்டு அப்புறமா அவங்க கடையில இருக்கிற வேலையெல்லாம் முடிச்சுட்டு ஈவினிங் வருவாங்க. ஈவினிங் முடிச்சுட்டு டீப்பும் அதே செய்வாங்க. எங்களுக்கு சமைச்சு போட்டு வீடெல்லாம் கிளீன் பண்ணி பாட்டெல்லாம் கழுவி வச்சுட்டு துணியெல்லாம் துவைச்சிட்டு இந்த மாதிரிலாம் பண்ணுவாங்க. இது பார்க்கும்போது எனக்கு ஒரு மாதிரி சோகமாயிடுச்சு. அதனால ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நான் என்ன மாட்டீங்கன்னா என்ன எப்படி மாட்டீங்கன்னா, நான் சாப்பிட்ட தட்டெல்லாம் கிளீன் பண்ணி வச்சுட்டு நான் போட்டு துணியெல்லாம் துவைச்சிட்டு வீடெல்லாம் கிளீன் பண்ணேன். இதே மாதிரி இப்போ என் அண்ணாவையும் அப்பாவையும் மோட்டிவேட் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சுக்கிறேன். இதே மாதிரி எங்க நெய்பர்ஸையும் இந்த மாதிரி ஸ்கூல் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸையும் நான் இந்த மாதிரி அவேர்னஸ் கொடுப்பேன். ஒருவேளை உங்க வீட்டுல அக்கா, தங்கச்சி, அம்மா யாராவது இருந்தாங்கன்னா அவங்க மட்டும் வேலையை செய்ய சொல்லாதீங்க. ஒருவேளை நீங்களும் செஞ்சீங்கன்னா அந்த வேலை பாதியா பிரியும், அந்த வேலையும் சீக்கிரமா முடியும். நன்றி. தேங்க்யூ.
ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ் பேரரண்யன், ரொம்ப அழகா சொன்னேன். So let me do a quick translation to his beautiful words. Peraranyan has shared that there are 4 people in his house, 3 male and 1 female. So it's his father, his elder brother, and himself. And the only woman in the house is his mother. So he says that he became aware of the difference because he saw how much his mother was working. She gets up very early in the morning, then she cooks, she cleans, she looks after various things in the house for them. And then she also goes out for a job. She works in a shop. Then when she finishes all that, she comes back and again she has so much housework to do. So he saw this and he became aware that there is a difference between how things are for males and how they are for females. So he decided he would help her. First, he wanted to change himself. So, what did he start doing? From a very young age, he tried to help her by cleaning his own plate, washing his clothes, helping with the cleaning of the house, and doing things like that. The next thing he has to do is he has started motivating his brother and his father to also help. Then now he wants to motivate his friends and classmates in school, and he wants to tell them that they should share the work at home, even if there is a elder sister or a younger sister or mother to do the work. And he says if all this work in the house is shared, it will become easy for everybody. So this is a wonderful thought. Thank you very much, Peraranyan, for sharing your ideas. So not only have our YILs become aware that there is some difference in the lives of girls and boys and men and women, but they have plans to do something about it. So now from this segment, let's go to the last one of our discussion today, which is what are we doing in Agastya to become more sensitive to gender issues and also doing our own little bit for gender equality. We've already said in the beginning that this entire discussion was about what we could do as individuals. There's always large-scale changes in policy, in the system, where a lot of things have to happen, but we have control over what we can do in our lives. And one of the big challenges, one of the first places where really gender discrimination and inequality start is in our own homes. And this is what we are trying to do now in Agastya. Briefly, let me tell you how it even started. So Agastya, as a very large organization, naturally has a POSH and POXO policy. The POSH policy, as you know, is about prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace. And the POXO policy is for the protection of children. Now, as part of training awareness generation about these policies, we also did gender training for a lot of our staff members. The majority of our instructors who teach children every day are young men. So currently we are in about 80 and 20 ratio of men and women. And it becomes very important that they realize things about gender discrimination, because every day, each instructor on a regular basis will be in touch with at least 100 students, half of whom could well be girls. So this kind of building awareness about gender is very important. Now, at the end of these trainings, we did something. We said we would put down tasks that we could do ourselves. It really doesn't help to say, oh, I don't believe in gender discrimination. I want equality. I'm going to change the world. Let's start changing the world right around us. So that's what we did. So we put down tasks and we said, what could we do right in our homes? What could we do in our workplace, for example, in our classes and things like that? What could we do in the communities? For example, our group of friends, our extended families, and so on. So now when the lockdown started, everyone was working from home. And this gave us a great opportunity to try out what we could do to change our homes. Now, here we asked for volunteers. We call this little program of ours the Gender Champion Volunteer Program. So, when we sent out the information, we got about 80 volunteers, all young men, our instructors from across the different Agastya regions. Then we put down a set of the tasks and we said, okay, you decide which one you want to take up. Now, what was the point of this? The point of this was first to break this barrier that there is a woman's job and a man's job, and that most of the unpaid work that goes on at home, cooking, cleaning, childcare, looking after the elderly, looking after the sick, becomes women's unpaid work. And why is this important? Because all her time and energy goes into this, and she has little, she really is not able to look at her own aspirations, her own dreams. What can she become to fulfill her potential as a human being? So, if this change happens at home, it could snowball into something very important for gender equality. Now, with these volunteers, we started these tasks and we kept track of it. We kept track of how much time the volunteers were spending, how much time we were actually saving the women in the family. Was there any change in relationships? Was there more awareness created? So I will just set the ball rolling on this conversation with one very interesting feedback that we got from our colleague Ramesh Hitnalli. He's from Maharashtra and he volunteered for the program. And this is what he says. He says, I started thinking about it. He's deeply attached to his mother and his sisters. And he said, look, I have always given them freedom. They can go where they like. My sisters can choose what they want to study. They can take up anything they like. I've always given them freedom. And as he was saying this, and because of the discussions in the GCV program, suddenly Ramesh stopped and thought about what he was saying. And then he said, who am I to give them freedom? Freedom is the birthright of every man and every woman. And my mother and my sisters are born with this freedom. I'm no one to give them this freedom. So this was an insight that he got. So this is an example of how the discussions in our GCV program really helped people to start looking at their own behavior, looking at how they could bring about positive change. And now I'm going to request my colleagues Parag Sawant and Malvi Desai to tell us many more stories and exciting things that came about in our GCV program. Now, some of this may seem small, but remember that all change starts with one step at a time. So, Parag and Malini, over to you. We are very eager to listen to your feedback about what our GCV volunteers did. Over to Parag and Malini.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And it was a really interesting story and it was really feedback from Ramesh ji. I just want to share my colleague Bhushan and Namrata. They both from Mumbai, and they both working in the same organization, having same working time. And what Bhushan had shared, Bhushan, when they came from the office, Bhushan used to give the order, "Are kuch chai de do, nashta de do." Same happening when they going for the office. The morning may be same, "Mujhe chai nashta de do." But after coming for the GCV, Bhushan has allotted some tasks like cooking rice, washing utensils. Then he realized how much background work needs to be done for these kind of tasks. So he completely changed his mind. Now Bhushan started working with Namrata, helping her in every aspects. Now this is the story from Bhushan, and Bhushan's mother is also happy for Bhushan's behavior. So this is the story from Bhushan.
Very nice. Parakshi, when you told about the background work, so I remembered Mr. Ishwar from Vizag, who used to help before becoming volunteer in the GCV also. So he has taken few other activities what he was not doing. Like Mr. Ishwar has taken like cleaning floor and helping in the kitchen, that may be cutting or cleaning also, and also tea making and serving. So when he started this activity, interestingly, he started timing his activities. Like he also found out after timing that it takes cleaning the floor, which includes removing the materials on the floor, whatever in the house. Then also sweeping it and also mopping it. So it took nearly 40 minutes to him, and helping in the kitchen some 20 minutes, and preparing and serving the tea around 20 minutes. So when he started timing, he understood that yes, like continuously so many small things my mother and my wife will be doing, and it takes almost whole day, entire day they will be busy. And he felt and he shared with us that if I take few of these activities, then that will be the little help what we can do in house, that will give them a great relief. This is from Mr. Ishwar.
Thank you, ma'am. I think it's really great insight from Ishwar. And I just want to share one of my friend's story, Mr. Muttu. Mr. Muttu, he's from Tamil Nadu, and Muttu stays in city along with his wife, and they both are working. And when Muttu came to the GCV, he has allotted some interesting task, and it was a self-willingly task. So Muttu was a part of it, and Muttu learned so many things like cooking rice, making chapati, making dosa from his wife. And it was a Tamil Nadu's major festival. It was a Pongal festival when Muttu went to his mother's house, where he has done sweet Pongal for his mother. And after having the sweet Pongal, the mother really surprised कि कैसे बना है इसने, how he has done this. And after having the food, her eyes really full of tears कि मेरे बेटे ने ये कैसे बना लिया. So it was a story from Muttu. And when I was having chat with Muttu, Muttu was saying कि बचपन में हम लोग माँ से बहुत सारा सीखे थे, माँ से खाना खाए अच्छे अच्छे. Now it's time to serve her. तो अभी हमारा टाइम है कि हम उनको सर्व करें. तो ये मुत्तू का स्टोरी था मैडम. So this is the insight I got from the Muttu, and there are
Very
many
nice.
stories. Now I request you to share your story, madam.
Yeah, thank you. So when you said about mother, I remembered another GCV volunteer, Mr. Paramesh from Karnataka. Parmesh also used to do help in the kitchen before GCV, also like bringing grocery or vegetable for home, and also bringing water and all. So he decided, let me experience some other thing which I have never experienced at home. So he decided to enter the kitchen and do some work in for GCV project also, and also to experience new things. So he, the time he entered and started about to start cleaning of the stove, gas stove, his mother came and told, what Paramesh, what you are doing? Then he told, yeah, I want to clean this gas stove. Then she told, all these are our work, you just go outside and do your work, we will do our. Then he explained about the things are not like that, nothing is like your work or my work, together we can do. And also he shared about our GCV project also. Then you know what she told? It is really eye-opening. She told, I will just tell in Kannada so that the flavor will come.
Yes.
ನಿಮ್ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಮನೆ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ ದೇಶನೇ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಆಗೋಗುತ್ತೆ. I'll just translate it. She told that if all men start helping at household work, then our country will flourish. Such a big statement she has given, right?
Wow, I think it's a really great thought from her, his mother. And same line, I just want to share one of the story from North. Mr. Mohit is from my team, and Mohit, for his job, he shifted to Noida, and he, along with his wife, they both are staying in the Noida. And because they both are staying in the house, they don't. Mohit used to learn many things, like he has learned chapati, but After came to the GCV, he has allotted some task, and with his wife, he done all his tasks. And when they shifted to, for any reason, they went to his house in UP. They have big large family, and it was a joint family. But same way, अगर वो घर पे काम करता तो घर पे जो बड़े लोग थे, they really get upset, और ये औरत का काम क्यों कर रहा है. Then मोहित भी बहुत नर्वस होता था. But when he came to the GCV, तो मोहित का कहना था he got a good start. Now he also working in UP also with wife, and helping in her aspect, like बर्तन मांजना, राइस को पकाना, तो सभी चीजों के लिए अभी मोहित हेल्प करता है. और इट वाज बिकॉज ऑफ GCV कि उनको अभी वो किक स्टार्ट मिला. अभी वो घर पे भी उतने ही कॉन्फिडेंस से काम कर रहा है जितने वो सिटी में करते थे. तो दिस वाज अ स्टोरी फ्रॉम मोहित.
Yeah, helping is really matters. And also, I am having one more story. It's a similar story from two different participants, Mr. Dattatri from Mysore and also Mr. Rajesh Paikrav from Maharashtra. So, like what happened, both of them shared the same experience. So they selected cleaning the floor as one of the tasks in GCV project. So when they were doing, they are having Mr. Dattatreya is having a daughter, and Mr. Ishwar Paikrav is having son, young children. So then when they were doing, then children came and told that, why Papa, why you are doing this? This is Amma's work, means mother's work. So why you are doing? Because they never saw father doing this work. Always mother used to do. So when they natural question, so they explain to children that nothing is like that. Mother's work and father's work like that. Together we can do. There is no problem. And I have realized that this, and I have decided that from today onwards I will be taking this responsibility and I will be working. So both of the children started helping, and this became a teamwork. Then see, home is a first place to learn the things. It is very important for young boys and girls to see their father doing household work or helping in household work. When children see their father doing taking tasks like cooking, cleaning and all, they will not see the work as mother's work or father's work, or barrier between the minds for all these jobs. So that's very important, I feel.
Really nice, madam.
Thank you very much, Malini and Parag, for sharing these lovely incidents. So what has this little project of ours done? It has helped to create awareness. It has certainly started breaking gender barriers within homes. Other people, and it's not just both men and women have to change their ideas. So many of the volunteers told us that right in the beginning, just like Malini related in one of the stories, or Parag did in the case of Mohit, the families, especially the women, were not happy. They said, why are you coming here and doing this? Is women's work. So this has helped us to sort of at least start breaking these barriers. Now, if you go to the Agastya Facebook page, you will see 4 wonderful photographs of our volunteers. One of them sweeping a terrace, one of them hanging out clothes, one of them cooking, and one of them cleaning vessels. And these are all very powerful images for children to see that it's fine for boys and men to also do this work. Now, it's not as if our stories were all happy stories. We have had places where our volunteers started off spending about 3 to 4 hours on helping at home, and slowly it came down to 30 minutes. Now the trick really is to keep it going even when you're working full time, because it's also about expectations. I mean, if a Bhushan went in and said, Mera chai lao, and then decided that, no, I'm not going to do that. I might make tea for myself and my wife. I mean, that itself changes so many things. So I think that we are on a great first stage of bringing about positive change. The important thing is to sustain this effort and to keep it going. And it's always easy to do things outside and much more difficult to do this at home. Now, the thing is, can our volunteers influence other people? Now, we have had some feedback from some of our volunteers. One of them was, I think, cleaning bartans outside or washing clothes outside. And the neighbors saw him, and the other mother started saying, look how helpful he is in the house. Why can't you be so helpful? So, all of these have a kind of snowball effect that we are hoping will happen. Now, the important thing in all the stories that we have listened to today is the power of one, how much one individual can do to change things. And let's also, I'll also just touch upon this big phobia that there is about boys and brooms. We heard our teachers say how during the Swachhata Abhiyan day, the boys were very reluctant to pick up brooms. Now, if this is something that they saw in their homes, they wouldn't have had any problem with it. So this is, it may appear small, but it's actually something very, very important. Now, having said this, let me end again with a story or an incident really that comes from a training done for adolescent girls on health. This was a long time ago, before we had all these digital things and Zoom and slides and all kinds of technology to do trainings. So this was a training called Sundar and Sundari. So Sundar and Sundari are essentially two plastic flip charts. And the top picture on both is of a boy Sundar and a girl Sundari. Now, as you keep turning those plastic sheets, you know more about the human body. So change one. So shall we say what? The sense organs of Sundar and the sense organs of Sundari. Flip to the next one, the heart and lungs of Sundar and heart and lungs of Sundari. And so it goes on and on, till finally, the only thing that is really different is the reproductive systems. Now, at the end of this program, when the girls were talking about it, they suddenly came up with this. They said, look, most of our bodies are the same. 90% of our bodies are the same as the bodies of the boys. But our lives are 90% different. There is 90% sameness in what has been given by nature, what cannot be changed. Whether we want to call it nature or God or some superpower has created a man's body and a woman's body, and this is the same everywhere. And 90% of that is the same. But our lives, when it comes to education, when it comes to opportunity, when it comes to rules and regulations we should follow, when it comes to age at marriage, there is 90% difference. And the key thing we need to understand is that 90% difference was made up by society's rules. So if society at some point could make rules that created so many gender barriers, we as members of societies can bring about change. And that really is the important message that we have for today. And once again, greetings on Women's Day, and wishing all women and men and everybody a much better world from now on. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our participants. Once again, goodbye.